morning, everybody. This is Dr. Mike. Thought I'd jump in here and give you a little weather update for today, which is Saturday, May 31st. Wanted to just go through a little bit about throughout the U.S. And if you have any questions, feel free to jump in on the board. Once you join in as a top chat or as a member, you'll be able to use the chat board. So this is all kind of new to me as well, so I'm sure it's new to you. Some of you probably know a lot more about this than I do, and so I don't claim to be the expert. If you have a problem, you're welcome to email me. It's drmikemoyer@gmail.com. And so if you have a issue, feel free to email me and we can try and figure it out together. Or if you have suggestions, feel free to leave them here, and we will go from there. Wanted to change a couple of things from even the last chat that I had, where we went through a lot of different changes and formations on my page itself, where we went, what we were doing on this, and so I wanted to see if we could start off with trying to jump here a little bit around so the screen is not as cluttered as it used to be. But I wanted to see if we start off with I think the most important thing is obviously any of the weather that's going on across the U.S., any watches and warnings. This is taken from Pivotal Weather, very good source if you are into weather and you don't know where to start. Pivotal Weather is a great free site. We also have a paid site. Not sure how much it is to get into the paid site, but this is all free. All they have, their website is free. You get just some better quirks along with the paid wall. So it's a good place to start. As you can see up in the Northeast, I'll be showing you a dramatic storm, the storm that actually moved from the lower Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, went up the coast. Now is a rather large, intense storm system that has really ramped up, causing a lot of flooding throughout much of the New Jersey area, New York area. You can see those on the map. We're in the green, where they're having torrential downpours. They've had a lot of flooding. I haven't seen storm reports out of there as of yet, but I'm sure that they have them. So those are things you can see up in this area is what I'm talking about, where there's actually the flooding that's going on. If you remember, that low was actually featured over here, and now it moved up to the northeast, and it's actually centered right over New York proper, and dropping an abundance of rainfall, well over an inch in some locations, and it's going to continue to move off to the north and the east. So people up into New England are going to have to deal with that for the rest of the weekend. The further north you go into Maine, New Hampshire, Delaware, those regions, you're going to have to deal with this rain before it jettisons off into the Atlantic. In the immediate area of the west, we talked about this thermal low that was off in the southwest U.S. Not an uncommon thing at all, but this is actually what's the result of it is the higher temperatures They are having heat advisories, heat alerts, heat warnings that are out for the interior part of California, places such as Nevada. We haven't hit Las Vegas yet. Wouldn't be surprised if those watches and warnings were extended further south as even places like southern Nevada heat up. But they're also getting into the interior. There is some relief as a system is going to be coming on shore, but that system's going to head a little bit further north, and then when it does come down with some of its cooler air, it will help with some of that heat as we get further into the weekend and into the first part of next week. Meanwhile, as we've said before, what tends to happen is we get these ridges that build, and then we get these troughs, and then we get more of these highs. And I'll show you a little bit more on the next map that is really more telltale than what I can show you on this little small map here. So let me switch maps if I can here. This is a map that shows you both isobars. And you can see in the northeast, the Pacific Northwest, you can see this is where that big giant storm is that has been plaguing them for the last 24 hours. And the low is now actually further north, so by the time I was talking to you, the map is already updated, and it's now up into further New England, but that low is sitting right in the middle of that circle. It was a 987 low. I'll have to check and see what that is now. Let me switch back over here, and that is still 987 low, which is a low pressure. We actually have barometric pressure. We're sitting over here into the Cincinnati area, and you can see that we're good 5 hours away, a couple hundred miles away. And we're sitting at a barometric pressure of 29.67, which is a low pressure. That has two culprits in mind here. One is that it's from this low pressure that has drifted and actually regained its strength. It nowhere looked anything like this before. The other thing is too that we had move this down a bit. We have actually a cold front. You can start to see on the map by this cloud line. It's a cold front that's actually been plaguing us with these showers here. These moved through this evening, and we had it around dinner time, and then a little later, around 8 or 9 o'clock. Actually didn't get to see that because I was out with my son watching the latest Mission Impossible movie, which was great. If you are a fan of that, I would recommend you go see that. Good movie. But we were inside, so we didn't get to see all the rainfall. That's okay. We're having a lot more fun than that. But the temperatures behind this cold front are not dramatically different. In fact, they're really going to be kind of negligible for the Ohio Valley. You're not going to see much in the way of cool down. Matter of fact, you'll see in long-range temperatures that these are just going to forebode maybe around 79. Some of you are going to be even seeing 80s. So if you have any place to go, especially on Sunday, Sunday's the peak day here, where all of this mess is going to be out. Right? If I take all this off and I zoom out, one thing that you do see is you see a lot of clear skies just sitting there waiting to be absorb the sunshine. And that's what's going to happen especially on Sunday, late Saturday into Sunday. So by the time you roll around on tomorrow morning, you'll see some clouds in the sky. Don't worry, those will be leaving and departing. And if you're in the Ohio-Tennessee Valley, the mid-Mississippi Valley, Texas, you're not so fortunate. You're going to be getting some thunderstorms later in the day as this upper level system moves east, as well as this thermal low, will be moving east. And again, we talked about this the other day, southwest part of Texas. And then there's that onshore flow. So it shows a quite compelling situation. One other thing people are starting to look at is the tropics. With this in mind, we normally have what is our high pressure system, which normally sits off the big old Bermuda High, usually sits off of the coast and pumps warm air into the inlet. What's happening though is that this system here is actually kind of blocking that, as it would make sense. And so by blocking that, we're really blocking any kind of development. We'll get into this more in the hurricane season, which starts in 2 days, one day, June 1st. You'll see that this is actually a parked high pressure system. It's the Bermuda High because Bermuda is way out here, and it actually sits. It's a big bubble, a dome of high pressure. It has forcing down mechanism, so it doesn't really want to move very much, and it stays in place for a lot of the season, and that's what steers a lot of the storms away from the east coast of the U.S. And what's going to happen here is that this is going to swoosh things across this high pressure. It's not going to totally move it. High pressure will stay in place, but it's not going to be able to move any systems out of the way, and there are no systems to move out of the way. But just one of these things that you don't see a whole lot of. This is a pretty strong convective system that's moving off the east coast, that traditionally, if we did have any kind of systems in place, we would necessarily have a couple factors going against us. One, this high would actually be pushing systems either further out into the Atlantic, or if they escape that high pressure, it would actually ride up alongside that convective system. Needless to say, we don't have that, so it's not pertinent to talk about at this point. But something just as a thing to call your attention to, because again, it's not something that we likely see a whole lot to. So you can see that if you live in any of the Ohio Valley, you still see that there's some light rain in the McKellar-Sykes Regional Airport. There's light rain in Shelbyville Municipal Airport, reporting that. And then I think it's McCordsville, if I'm not mistaken, McCordsville Municipal Airport out in Indiana, also reporting light rain. So we're not done quite yet with the rain if you live in Ohio, Indiana, or Kentucky. Like I said, you'll wake up to some sunshine, mixed clouds, and don't be surprised if you see a shower pop up. So with that in mind, we'll switch back over to our other camera, and just wanted to show you, here's the satellite view for the immediate area. Things look pretty good. Here's that low that's spinning around off the east coast. It's obviously moving to the northeast. Got a little closer picture of the storm. You can see the swirl of it. There it is. As it starts its track up to the northeast, it passes New York into New Jersey, and it'll start moving up to the northeast, and it'll generally be kicked off the east coast into the Atlantic Ocean. As we do with all of our starts, so we're talking about any kind of the weather, we tend to really just discuss temperatures and humidity, and we'll talk about, more importantly, the upper wind flow, because the upper wind flow really is what directs the weather across the United States. So if you're ready, here we go. This is at 500 millibars, which is several miles up into the upper part of the atmosphere. You can see there's that thermal low that's still sitting over the southwest. You can see some moisture that's starting to accumulate over Mexico itself. Here's that next system that's coming ashore, and here's that ridge that we talked about. So you can see the hot air is bulging in with that ridge. It's coming straight down, and then it's also then shooting this. This is that upper low that's developed. You can see a wave within that low. That's what's happening is that low was transferring energy. That low was originally here over eastern Kentucky, and now it's transferring its energy off the coast, which is a normal thing that happens. The energy transfers because of momentum, and it goes off to the east, where it tends to have more moisture, has more of a balance of energy that it needs, and so it transfers what's left of here into a low off the coast before it moves to the northeast. It's typically what you see in the northeastern snowstorms, and that's what's happening here. You can see the winds are huge. They're very, very strong. So if you're taking the airplane ride, say from north to south, you'll probably get there ahead of your schedule for this next 12 hours as the storm system moves east and northeast. You might get a delay here, though, if you're going into New York or New Jersey in flights further northeast. But you'll see the overall pattern of where the storms will be moving and how they get there. And so you'll also see this little bit of a low that's still making its presence known, and that's what's causing those showers still. We just talked about over Indiana and even into Tennessee. And then once that moves away, you can see what's out here. This is going to bring us warmer air. As we start to see that ridge build here, that ridge is going to start moving to the east, and we're going to start seeing some much, much warmer air, and I'm talking into the upper 70s, into the low 80s by midweek next week coming up. So be ready for that. I think everybody is, but believe it or not, it will be here. So we'll take you through a couple of different days here, and you can see that trough is moving through, that low pressure system moving off the northeast coast, and in 24 hours you can see that low still has that trough for that low pressure that's moved off to the east. In other words, it's just extended its pressure down a little further. Still has a lot of instability left with it, so you still have that chance of showers. This is for the period of Saturday morning into Saturday night. You'll notice if you're in Ohio and Indiana, you're starting to clear out. So this model wants to keep us into clouds for a greater portion of the day. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think things will clear up a little bit later in the afternoon. You'll start to see some of the sunshine. You'll start to see a storm system develop out into the plains. This is coming in from the Rockies. Here's that storm system coming aboard, and another storm system coming aboard, I should say. The one that came ashore is already coming across the Rockies and now making its presence known in the Central Plains. And there's also that front that's passing through Florida, now giving them their rain showers, and they were devoid of precipitation for quite some time. And now you're starting to also see that uptick of shower and thunderstorm activity in southern and southwestern Texas. We go a little further down the road, you can see that low moving to the south and east, and what that's going to do is take a swing and move, and you'll see in the different direction here to the north and northeast. This is just a dual system of low pressure that's formed, and it'll get into the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley soon enough. Another system, there's that second system moving on shore of the Ohio Valley. We look into Sunday night into Monday morning. You'll see high pressure combating with a little bit of a low pressure system or a trough over the Ohio Valley. There's that system finally moving to the north, kicked off of the U.S. soil, but it's still leaving a residual amount of clouds and some upper rain showers up near the Canadian border. Here's that low pressure system that was out in the plains has now kicked itself off to following the same pattern as the original one, and is now moving to the east, and it'll be traveling kind of in the same pattern, but it looks like this one is going to be moving along the lines of maybe a little to the north and east and offshore. Southern Florida looks to be rainy along the Keys, and we also have rainfall, cloudy skies along the Gulf. Here comes that next storm system that came on shore, split itself into many lows, and it's going to gather its strength. You'll see a north-south flow. This is going to be the next storm system that's going to come together and move into the Central Plains and spread severe weather. Severe weather they already have planned for days 5 and 6, which you're going to see here now. Goes into, we'll get to day 5 and 6 here in just a minute. This is for Monday night, and then into Tuesday morning. You can see quite a setup. It's kind of overdone, but you'll see that what we're looking at is these two systems have merged. You'll see one of them become dominant here in the next run, but you'll see that the main point here is that there'll be a slight risk of severe weather over the Nebraska, Colorado border, along with South Dakota. So you'll have the severe weather here. This is what they were predicting for day 4, and then you'll see what happens on day 5. The East Coast looks pretty good, with the exception of Florida again. There's that front that's finally draping up, cooler air following in behind it. Low pressure finally gets its act together and starts to move northeast and drag this front to the south and east as well, and it'll eventually make its way into the East Coast over the next 12 to 24 hours. Still moving to the north and east. We'll start to see this now elaborated, and this low is going to hunker in over Chicago, where we'll have also the cold front that'll stretch all the way from Canada all the way down into northern parts of Texas, where they will pick up fairly good amounts of rain. I was looking at the upper level charts, and there's plenty of moisture available, and I think that that's what's going to be happening, is it'll tap into that moisture. The Gulf is wide open for business. We have that Bermuda high that's pumping with this warm, moist air straight ahead. So I think we're going to have heavy rain. I think we'll also have some isolated severe weather along the line come Wednesday morning, Thursday afternoon. I'm sorry, look at that back. That would be Wednesday afternoon into Thursday morning. So Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning is day 5, as they were predicting. So we'll see that again. Day 6, that front continues ever so slowly moving. It's not a fast mover by any stretch of the imagination. And lo and behold, this front now becomes stationary. And this seems to be one of the patterns that has evolved and kept going on and on for the last several storm systems, is that either a low has been cut off or the storm systems have become stationary. And so what happens is that they meander, and we just get to play with the rain long enough for a couple of days, and then finally a stronger system moves in and pushes it out of the way. I'll take this out to day 8. You can see that that's what's happening, is that this finally front is finally moving past the Ohio River. Usually is where the Ohio River is the boundary between where the cool and warm air fight it out. We'll see in further model runs, but I think that this high pressure will be strong enough to push this front finally through and bring us some nicer weather if you live over the Great Lakes in the Ohio Valley. Looks like the West Coast is surviving. They will still be in the heat. You can see the record heat that they're having: 101, 104, 107, 109, 103 in Phoenix. So they're still going to be baking in the heat. The east is going to be cooling down. Again, we have that arching piece. Again, in the middle of that, you always get the coolness, and then it warms back up. So areas to the north and the east tend to get a little warmer, but they're going to be under a lot of cloud cover. So once this cloud cover gets out of the way, you can bet that these temperatures are going to start moving to the east and will be warming up again. But again, this is out 8 days. The accuracy usually goes maybe 3 days, 4 days. This is not an ensemble. Ensembles are what we would look at for long range, simply because it looks at many variables, many different variations of a model, and puts it all together and comes out with a mean or an average of where these movements are going to be. Deterministic models, which is what this is, actually looks at one solution and one solution only. So that can only give you accuracy out to 2 to 3 days before it starts to run its errors. But it does give us an idea of what to expect. So we're going to kind of be up and down on the roller coaster with temperatures as well as with precipitation. So I hope that helps. We're going to go ahead and cut it short. We've already been doing this for a long period of time, for almost a half hour here. So we'll cut it down and give you time to digest. Again, hit the button for me if you will, and I will try and come back tomorrow. We'll see if the severe weather heightens up tomorrow. If so, we'll do a live stream with some of the severe weather throughout the U.S., and you're welcome to join. And we'll talk nothing but the storms as they pop up in fire, and we'll alert you to those as we go